going everyone, it's Juan Romero here from Switchwatch, back with another review. Today it's a game called Hyper Sentinel, but is it worth your hard-earned cash? Let's get into the review and find out. If you're an 80s child like me, then you'll remember the Commodore 64 and its fantastic cassettes that accompanied it. There was a tough shooter going by the name of Uridium, created by Andrew Braybrook, who back in the day was a great coder for the Commodore 64. The game was published by a company called Huey Consultants back in the mid-1980s. Here we now have the developer and publisher Huey Games, who based Hyper Sentinel on Uridium. You'll not be surprised to learn that the CEO of Huey Games is a guy named Rob, who is the son of Mr. Huey, who of course founded that small studio in the 1980s, Huey Consultants. Now I met both at this year's EGX and their passion for gaming is clear. Think of Hyper Sentinel then as Uridium, but brought up to date. But does it do the original justice, and is it worth your hard-earned cash? Let's find out. So if we talk about audio, Rob Fenn has done a fantastic job on the soundtrack here, a perfect homage to the 80s gaming era. Chip tunes are here in all their glory, and if you like this sort of thing accompanied by synthesizers and synth voice from time to time, everything makes you feel like you're back in the 80s again, and it really feels intense. It accompanies the action in this game perfectly. I enjoyed the sound effects from blasting away to picking up multipliers and power-ups. If you're into all things retro, then the visuals are going to be fantastic for you. There are some wonderful options to choose from here. You can choose from Spectrum, CRT, or the Commodore 64 filters to really take you back. Some may turn these on just out of curiosity, while others will revel playing with these filters on all the time. This pays homage to the fantastic arcade space shooters back then, but adds its own little touches to spruce things up. The explosions look grander, the weapons look menacing, and all of the little touches from spaceships flying around to bullets coming at you look really nice and colourful. Everything pops against the black background, especially while playing this in handheld mode, and from a visual point of view, this game is something I really liked the look of, especially when comparing it to the original Uridium. In terms of performance, the game runs really smooth, and I didn't encounter any slowdown, whether in docked or in handheld mode. Moving on to gameplay, it's a really simple game, but it's also what makes it quite addictive. Fly your ship from left to right, taking out as many targets on the large spaceships as possible, which are mostly in the form of turrets. The number of targets that need to be taken down are pointed out in the top right hand of the screen, and targets are also pointed out by small green arrows. Your little ship is tiny compared to these mighty ships, yet you are nimble and they are slow. Some turrets are protected by their own shields, which your ship just bounces off, making things a little more difficult as you progress. Further in, turrets become more powerful, and there are also more craft your size trying to take you down. Therefore, it's important for you to have the skill to avoid such dangers. Luckily, controls are intuitive and tight, making it a pleasure to control your craft. The large ships you'll encounter on each level are a certain length, so everything is confined to quite a small space in which you move horizontally side to side. If you reach the end of the screen, your ship will be bounced off into the opposite direction. You will need to pick up power-ups to make your job easier. You can dodge simply by flipping your ship left or right at any time, and on the turn your ship gets a temporary shield. You can avoid hits from other flying ships or bullets at this very point. Power-ups include a devastating laser beam, which was my all-time favourite, extra firepower for the front or back of your ship, and the Astro Mace, which has 3 large red spikes which dangle with chains from your ship, and you can swing these around using boost or moving left and right until making the mace swing around quickly for devastating damage, using the physics of this game to great effect. There is also health boosts and score multipliers to collect. When taking out all relevant targets, you then have a boss to beat at the end of each level, usually in the form of a greater weapon or a flying ship which moves from side to side. Once you do this, you complete the level and move on. The game has a really cool risk versus reward scenario. Your multiplier will continue to build up as you shoot enemies and turrets. However, should you take damage and you need to recover your health, you can head off to somewhere where there's not much action going on, and then you'll lose your multiplier as it starts to cool down. So do you risk continuing for that higher score but risk death? That of course is up to you. I would rather risk it all and try to get on the leaderboard, but that's just my personal way of playing. My main gripe with this game is the lack of variety within each level. Each level is very similar to the last, and unfortunately it can become repetitive rather quickly. The game would have benefited from some other challenges within each level just to keep things a little more interesting and fresh, and some extra modes wouldn't have gone amiss here, although there is a boss battle mode and a survival mode for those of you that do get bored of the arcade mode. Speaking to Rob though at EGX, I understand the game should be well supported in future with DLC, and I can't wait to see what they bring next, because there's certainly a very good basis here. In terms of value, the game is $12.99 or £9.99 in the UK, and for that you're going to get a decent amount of playtime. The online leaderboards do keep you coming back for that one more go try and to acquire those high scores. So is this game worth your hard-earned cash? It's one of those games that you have to play to fully appreciate, because it's so fast-paced, the controls feel great and movement feels fast. It's a pure arcade experience with the added benefit of those online leaderboards to keep you coming back for more. Now, I really enjoyed the risk versus reward scenario and how well balanced that felt. Now yes, it does get a little bit samey after a while, but that didn't stop my enjoyment of a game that's been heavily influenced and inspired by Iridium. This does more than enough to not only pay respect to that, but also does enough to stand on its own 2 feet. From me then, a 7.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, guys, then I'd really appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button if you're still here watching. If you're a new watcher, then check out our channel for more reviews and gameplay videos like this one. And for those of you who continue to watch video after video, leave comment after comment, thank you so much. Don't forget, if you do want to leave us a comment down below, we'll do our best to respond to all of those and to your questions. My name is Juan Romero from Switchwatch, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care.